Today's Noirvember film was an independent film that was produced by Virginia and Andrew Stone for MGM. It's from 1956. Virginia and Andrew Stone made several films together. They were husband and wife in the late 50s into the early 60s, including like The Steel Trap and a few others. Um, Virginia was the producer and often the writer and editor, and Andrew was the director, producer, and sometimes writer as well. In this case, Andrew directed, produced, and wrote, and Virginia produced and edited the film. They had their own production company called Andrew L. Stone Productions. You can look them up. They are fascinating. The New Bev published a really great, incisive look into the history of the Stones a few years ago, so Google that, you'll find it. This one is called Cry Terror. It's from 1958, and it's a sordid little film, solid B picture, quote unquote, starring James Mason, but James Mason's very much a supporting role in this, and this was the beginning of him shifting from a lead actor to a supporting character actor. And you get some of his more interesting roles, to be honest, when he shifted that way. It also co-stars Inger Stevens, Rod Steiger, Neville Brand, Jack Klugman, and a very devious Angie Dickinson. The plot revolves around a mad bomber played by Rod Steiger, who is hinted probably has some issues left over from the war. So this is how it's solidly a noir. He has convinced his old army buddy, James Mason, to make these compact explosive devices, tricking him and saying that if he does it, he'll get a contract with the government. What the true story is that he's made them to get $500,000 or $500,000. $500,000? I can't read. $500,000 from airline companies to say they're going to bomb it. He Rod Steiger's character successfully gets this bomb scare. He has his Moll, Angie Dickinson, as the woman who has been planting the device and sending the ransom and all kinds of stuff in a very intricately plotted way so that they supposedly cannot trace her. Once the bomb has been, this bomb threat has hit the news, James Mason's character realizes he made the bomb and oh fuck, what's he gonna do? Like, he knows he's been duped. Just as he's telling his wife about this, he's an honest man, talks to his wife. This is how you know it's a late era noir, because if it was an earlier noir, he would not have told his wife and things would have gotten worse. Also how you know a woman probably had a good touch in this, and I'll get to that. His wife is like, oh god. Just as she finds that out, Steiger shows up and is kidnapping them because he has more plans for them in terms of this scheme he has. And he's so cold-blooded, he won't even let them have someone babysit their daughter. Like, he's kidnapping the daughter as well. So once he's kidnapped them, you meet the rest of his gang, played by Jack Klugman, who is like the strong arm, and Neville Brand, who is a disgusting sex fiend who's also good at twisting people's arms and making them do things. And he's always hopped up on bennies. So that makes this film is very sordid and goes into some really like gross, dark places, including the hierarchy of criminals, and Steiger being disgusted by this guy's both drug habit and penchant for raping women. So the film uses rape as a device, which is always a bit unwanted, but the way it does it really puts the power on Inger Stevens' character, where she is a tough woman. She's put in a horrible situation, and honestly, she is the star of this film. She is the one that goes through the most tension. She has to do the most. She has to think on her feet. She has to deal with the fact that her daughter has been kidnapped, that her husband has been turned into a mad bomber on accident, that she is being threatened with rape and murder and all kinds of things, and is forced to do crimes, and has to figure out a way to both do them so that her family is not killed and alert the FBI so that hopefully her family can be rescued. And she does so in such an amazing way. This is a tough, strong, determined woman who is going to save her family at all costs, but also remain true to her good self. This film has a preposterous ending. Just go with it. It's fun. They use science in several moments so the bulk of the film is following the kidnapped family, but you also have bits with the FBI as they're using science and so we're looking for oh my god, crime scene analysis type stuff to track the killers and namely Angie Dickinson's character. She is so bad in this movie. It's lovely to see her just revel in being a femme fatale. It's great. There's one last thing I wanted to say. Oh, it was shot on location in New York. The location shooting is fantastic. There's the airline company. There's this beautiful Brooklyn apartment complex. There's bits where they're driving down like the turnpike or whatever it's called. I don't know, New York. The part with the bridge. There's a really tension-filled scene where James Mason tries to escape through an elevator, but then Angie's character gets in the elevator, and it's like, is he gonna make it out? Great subway locations. It's just a very taut, grimy, lurid thriller. It was disliked heavily by Bosley Crowther, which usually in my case means I'm gonna like it because I often disagree with Bosley Crowther. It also was not a fan of. There's a lot of negative reviews of this movie, to be honest, and that's mostly because it's not it's not plausible a lot of ways. But that's okay. I don't think a film needs to be plausible. It just needs to be suspenseful, and I was sucked in. So what are you gonna do? It's noir. I enjoyed it. It's on DVD from Warner Archive Collection as well as streaming on Filmstruck for the next 2 weeks or whatever. So check it out one way or another. Great James Mason performance. Great Inger Stevens performance. Real creepy Rod Steiger. Like, I thought the weirdest thing he'd ever done was The Loved One, but this is like beyond that. He is so weird in this, and gross and amazing, and just shows that he had such great range. So check it out. Cry Terror with an exclamation point, not to be confused with Cry Danger, which I may have said earlier because now I can't remember. Cry Danger is a different film, as is Cry Havoc. There's Cry Havoc, Cry Danger, and this is Cry Terror.